We begin with today's unprecedented decision concerning this year's Run for the Roses. After already being postponed from May until September due to the pandemic, officials have now announced no spectators will be allowed at Churchill Downs for Kentucky Derby 146. They made the call today after studying the latest coronavirus trends in Kentucky and say with increased case numbers, they feel keeping race fans out of the world-famous track is the safest way to continue with the Derby.
Things change, and they change rapidly, and we have to react to them. I've said it many times, my hearts go out obviously to the fans and to the community, but my team, they have just been responding like champs along the way, just adjusting. I know they're exhausted of how many different variations we've had of this.
Now we join our sports director, Keith Farmer. He's live. Keith, I've done 18 derbies. You've covered the Kentucky Derby for more than 2 decades. What was your initial reaction and your thoughts now that you've had some time to let this all sink in?
Yeah, at first it was like, oh no, it can't be the Derby, because this is what, growing up in Kentucky as I did, what we lived for, the first Saturday in May. But when I really got to thinking about it, reading through the release from Churchill Downs, you see that Louisville and Jefferson County is now considered to be in a red zone as far as the coronavirus. So it totally made sense for the fact that they had to do this. They really did. There were too many other sports that were going this route. We saw basketball, baseball, even golf doing this. And then recently the Indianapolis 500 getting ready to run and no fans. So I think it would have been difficult, even with 23,000 people, to say, fans, come on in while we're in this pandemic.
What have you heard about what factored into the decision other than COVID-19? Have you been reaching out to some people who have talked about some of the other things? We know there'll be protests at the Derby. That's one thing. And it's a pretty volatile environment in the Derby city right now anyway. What else have you been hearing?
Yeah, I mean, the mayor, Greg Fisher, even said for the fact that he wasn't going to go to the Derby because he needed to concentrate on things that was going on outside of the Derby. So I think that probably had a little bit to do with it, with all the protesters that were coming in. You had to be thinking, I mean, with just 23,000 fans, they were going to have to be wading through these protesters more than likely, and so that had to factor in. It's a difficult decision to make. They were trying, as you heard. They were trying with this many people and that many people. And to be honest, it probably isn't going to hurt as far as it goes with the handle and with the betting, because you're going to see people across the country. They've already had a meet where their handle was way up. So it's not going to affect that. The only thing it's going to affect is the city of Louisville, because they would have had a lot of fans coming in and they would have been spending money at the restaurants and the hotels and things like that. So certainly they're going to see a bigger difference in the city than they will at Churchill Downs.
About it, everyone, not just here in Kentucky or in Louisville, but perhaps even all over the world, is really going to miss the Derby. Thanks, Keith.